Now, this is a very simple scenario that we have just seen. So what we have seen is a very simple scenario where I've just created the EC2 instances where I've created a single template, and this single template was stored in my S3 bucket, and I have opened this AWS CloudFormation, and I have specified where exactly my template is present, and I've created the stack, and using the stack I have initialized the resources. Next, we'll do a deep dive and we'll look into a scenario where we are going to learn how we can use this cloud formation to have a nested stack. Okay, so when I say nested stack is a scenario where we have one stack inside the another stack. So in the like when we talk about this cloud formation template, guys, if I want to give, before we deep dive, I want to add some more things over here. So this is a scenario, this is the template file which we have seen just now, where we have created in JSON format. Now, apart from JSON format, we can also create the cloud formation template using the YAML file as well. So as a developer or a cloud developer, you can choose whichever is the language that you want to use. You can choose either the JSON language or even you can use the YAML language as well. And here, one of the feature of this cloud formation, it actually helps us in saving the time whenever we are building the infrastructure, which means, as you have clearly seen, once I create this template, I can actually upload it and I can work on it. Okay. Now, we have just seen at the high level at the right, like we just deep dive into this cloud formation template, right? If I want to give you a brief idea about this overall template, so here in this cloud formation template, it actually consists of various sections. So on top, I'm having the AWS template format version. Below that, we have the description, and then we have the metadata. I can add the additional information over here under the metadata, and we can specify the parameters. We'll specify the mappings for the parameters. We can mention the condition, resources, and at the end, we can also specify the output as well. So these are the various sections that we'll have when it comes to creating the cloud formation template. And when I call a stack, see, we have just created the stack in a hands-on manner. So if I call a stack is nothing but the collection of resources. I can say that my stack can have one or more template. So the advantage of my stack is that it's easier to create, delete, and update the collection of my resources. Now, the advanced stack that we are going to see right now is called as a nested stack. And here, this actually holds a collection of stacks. Now, here in the hands-on activity, since it's about nested stack, when I say nested stack, as the name itself suggests, a nested stack consists of one or more stack which are referencing each other. Now, as the infrastructure scales, a particular cloud formation template may need to be used multiple times. In such scenarios, we isolate the common template and reference it as and when we need it from a nested stack. So nested stack itself actually consists of one or more stacks in a reference hierarchy. Now, if I'm defining a nested stack, so the nested stack will have a parent stack and it has one or more child stack. Now, to help you understand this, just observe the diagram that I'm going to draw right now. So let's say I'll have a stack A. Okay, I'm going to mention this stack A as my parent stack or a root stack. I'm going to say my stack A. So this stack A is a root stack. So this is a root stack for all the other nested stacks in my hierarchy. Now, what I'm going to do is, let's say if I have a stack B, and if I represent it like this, it would clearly mean that for my stack B, my stack A is both the parent stack as well as the root stack. Okay. Now, let's say I'm going to write something like this. I'm going to represent my stack C. And here for stack C, and I'm going to mention something like this. Okay. I'll mention it as stack D. So for stack D, I can say that the stack C is my parent stack. Now here for this stack C, stack B is my parent stack. So this is how we represent the simple architecture diagram for this reference stack that is in my nested stack. Okay, so the root stack is my parent stack. Okay, the root stack is the original stack, and the anything else below it, and if it is being referenced in other stack, we can call it as a child stack and a parent stack in a respective manner. So in this hands-on scenario, what we are going to do is we are going to perform in a hands-on way. We'll see an example of nested stack. We are going to create an auto scaling group stack and a load balancer stack, and we are going to attach the load balancer stack to my auto scaling stack. Okay, so that's how we are going to do. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll log into my AWS console. I think it got logged out for me. I'll just log in and I'll show you guys. Okay, I've logged into my AWS console again. Now here in this scenario, so I've got three files, guys. Okay, I've got three files and I've already uploaded to my S3 bucket. If I want to show you those files, so one file is called as nested ASG. This is one file. Okay, and the two other files that I want to show you are this nested stack and nested load balancer. Okay, so nested LB is the AWS CloudFormation sample template for creating the load balancer, and here this is a template for nested stack. And if you observe closely, this time we have written the code in YAML. So we use this YAML file and we use this format to work with this hands-on scenario of this CloudFormation. Okay, and I've already uploaded these things to my S3 bucket. If I go over here, so inside this, I've got three files: nested ASC, nested LB, and nested stack. Okay, so these are the three templates that we have already added to our S3 bucket. Now, when I open this, okay, here, when I open this, let's open the nested ASC. If I open this, see, it has got the similar things, guys. So this is the auto scaling group. Here it says we have specified the key pair name, and we have mentioned the SSH location. We have mentioned each and everything that we want to write. It is mentioned in ASG. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'll copy everything. So this scenario is actually the ASG YAML. So I'm going to copy this S3 file URL. My nested ASG. So this is my S3 file URL. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the same thing for my LB. Nested load balancer. I'm going to copy this link for this as well. Next, I'm going to copy the URL for the nested stack as well. Okay, so we can use it and refer it at a later point. So if we open one, okay, I'm going to open the auto scaling group since that is what we are exploring. So if we open over here, we've got the instance type. So instance type is web server EC2 instance type. And I have mentioned the instance type as t2.micro. And we've got the key name. It's the same similar scenario that we have mentioned earlier. It should be the existing EC2 key pair. And we've got the AMID. That is the AMI ID. It is the ID of an image which is present in that given region so that we can use it to launch the web server. And we can specify the load balancer name. So here I mentioned there's some description, okay? And then we have mentioned, we can mention our user data as well as per our requirement. And we can also specify the SSH location, everything we can define it as per our requirement. Okay, see, observe, we have mentioned the user data. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to install my HTTPD and I'm going to start my server. I'm going to check the configuration, and here I'm just printing some output on the screen which says as test page of the server created at, and I'm just getting the system time and I'm displaying it on my HTML page. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do right now. And we have also mentioned some more resources as well. We have mentioned web server ASC. We have mentioned the launch configuration. See, web server ASC is nothing but the here it actually refers to the resource name for creating the autoscaling group. Launch config, it actually refers to the launch configuration resource defined for the autoscaling group. And we've got the websec group. It is a security group for launch configuration.